Okay, let's see if we can get our motor wired up here. So I've got is about 6 inches of 18 AWG wire, which is perfectly fine for the 2S LiPo, and I've also made a mark on here about 1.5 inches in. And so one thing I didn't do when I took the motor apart was annotate where the positive leads were, and they were on the forward 2 leads with dart shooting that way. So I've got to remember to do that. If we get that messed up, our motors spin the wrong way and your dart does not go out. So one of the things we want to do is make sure that these motor leads are the same length. So I've seen a number of different ways to kind of wire these guys up with looms and stuff. So what I've come up with is, so that the 1.5 inches, I've opened up a section there, and then I'm going to strip that section off there, and find my helping hands. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus here. And depending on what angle we're at here. So we want to pretend this is 18 AWG, so it's soaking the heat away pretty quick. So we've got to keep on it a bit. And then the front section here. And this pretending is kind of important because it helps us make a good connection. The motor leads already have some solder on them. And so if we orient this so we're shooting the dart out that way, there's 2 little posts here, so that's kind of where we're going to come out with our wire. So let's go ahead and set this guy. And since we've already got them pre-soldered and there's solder on the leads, we should just be able to come in, and you notice I did have quite a blob of solder on my tip as well, so we've got plenty of solder. And I could feel that heat going into the wire there. We'll give it a little tug test. I've got to rip one of these pads off, but I doubt they're terribly robust, so we want to be a little bit careful. And that 1.5 inch measurement we made should give us enough to loop around here. So we want to be a little bit careful because these are vibrating quite a bit at high speed, and so we don't want that wire pulled taut, or that will subject it to stresses as the motor's running. So I'm reloading my tip, and I come in and just bring that in, and like so. So I've got a little bit of service loop. This kind of lets us vibrate all we want. And so you heard me say we want the same length on both sides, and if I do this, that's not going to be the case, because the wires going to this motor will be longer than the wires going to this motor. But if I alternate my kind of spanning thing there, then we're going to be okay. So let's see. Ooh, got a little more than I wanted, but I think we're going to be okay. And you kind of want to make sure you can give it a little twist. I did break at least 1 or 2 strands there, but I think we're going to be okay. Don't want to break too many, or you're going to be kind of counter to the idea of having 18 AWG. So typically, so I'm running, we're going to be, as we start up, we're going to run stock motor on 6-volt alkalines, and after that we can upgrade to IMRs or nickel metal hydride or even lithium, and those are all going to work pretty well with the stock motors on 2S. But if we want to add something exotic, like go to 3S or high performance aftermarket motors, which can draw northwards of 30 amps or more, we might consider going to 16 AWG, but for now we're at 18. And so I'm going to set the solder on, and boy, that heat sure comes through that wire fast. In addition to conducting electricity, it will conduct heat. And you can see there's just a little bit of wire left over from when we liberated all this way back when. And just kind of want to get a little bit of a service loop in there, like so. Trying to keep our red wire out of harm's way. And again, we'll preload our tip, so we've got plenty of solder to work with. And come in here. Oh, you can feel that coming through. Okay, so a little crisscross applesauce. And again, we're going to come exiting out here. We're going to bring him back around here. And you can see we end up coming out the same length. So that should keep us golden. And while we're here, let's strip off enough to okay, trying to make you guys seasick by jiggling my camera here. And this usually helps to give a little bit of twist to keep those in place. I've actually sized the hole so the 16 AWG should, in theory, work through these holes, and I've yet to actually test that theory. So, and again, if you remember, one of the things I keep harping on is we've got to make sure we get the batteries out, especially since we're going to be working next to the battery connector there, which would have been live, regardless of the position of the jam door. So we're marked with a positive and negative for the motor. I guess in actuality it should be forward and backwards, because if you wire it up backwards, then it's going to run backwards. And some heat. And again, this is not the greatest soldering, but looking over the camera, trying to give you guys front row seats, making my life a little tough. It is, however, I've been reviewing the video, and it looks like you're getting a pretty good view, so I'm hoping that makes your life better. And it looks like the camera's about to run out of battery, too, so we could lose this at any minute. Okay, motors are connected. I'll come back and clean those up in a second, but what we really want to do now is our moment of truth and see if these guys will spin. So double A's back in. Like so. And boy, we sure got a mess here, but it's going to clean up nice. I know you're with me on this. Okay, so hold the jam door shut. Got the debug screen, and really all we need to do is pull the rev switch. And we are cooking. And one thing, the thing we want to do before we get ourselves patting on the back too much here is make sure our flywheels are the right direction. So I've gone ahead and installed the jam door switch. I've got the jam door set in the one hinge so I can turn it on, and I've got a dart so I can rev it up. This so that you can see it. And that dart is gone. So we are spinning the correct direction and shaking all. Okay, this looks a little bit like a disaster, but we are going to make it look beautiful here. I usually start by putting your battery wires down into this channel. So I've got my PCB mounted just about where we want it. In fact, we can go ahead and use the original screws from the channel cover to hold it in place there for now. So we're pulling those through that channel. Got something to kind of pack it down in there. And then this is just going to kind of fold it out of the way for now. Just need it to be out of the way of the trigger. Just forward. Okay, so the forward section's coming out in this channel. We've got our photo cell attached. And so now we're going to kind of put our service loop. It's going to go underneath the motor assembly. And we're going to try and bring all this together at once. Down onto the motor mounting posts. Pushing the photo wires up just a little bit. Mostly there. That feels better. Okay. You definitely want to make sure you're solid on your motor post. Something still feels a little tweaky here. Okay, if you remember, the 4 motor mounting screws are the longer of them. And for now, I'm just going to run in a pair, just to hold that in place. Okay, so the remainder of our wires here, the rev and the clip switch, are going to go into the channel on top of the battery wires. And then on top of that is going to go our jam door switch. You can see we've got quite a loop here, so we're going to bring that back, make that a service loop right there. So that sticky tack is, jury's still kind of out on whether that's a good idea or not. I think I'm going to put the service loop under. This switch does a really good job of kind of holding everything down in the channel. So, okay, stick our debug wire, and I think we're about ready to lose that. So pull that out. Our photo. So see, this is cleaning up nicely. Now, one of the tricks on this is, it's kind of hard to see from this angle. We want, so the darts are going to be feeding across here, so we need to be very careful about these wires And so you saw me put like one spin on it, and that's going to give it kind of a natural coil. It's going to put it up towards the edge there, which I think is what we're going to want. And I think we're at another testing point here, so let's throw some batteries back in. Make sure we haven't jostled anything or broken any leads. And boy, that's looking good. Okay, so now we should be able to close our door. Oh yeah. And if I bring this up, you'll see we're back into our normal screen here. Now it's we got 6-volt batteries, and it's actually, the jumpers are set for 7.2 volts, so it's at the low end and it's blinking, so that means it thinks it's got a low battery. We have some jumpers on here we can set for whether we're going to use this volt system or if we want to do a 3S. And all that does is set the limits on the battery voltages so it knows how to scale it here. It doesn't, nothing too fantastical. And well, I think the last trick is just to set the shell in place. Got a little bit of a reboot up there. We got sort. Okay, we got our one more. So I do have a clip. I haven't quite shown that magnet testing yet, but this will tell us if that's going to work. As I insert that, and we'll go to 6. So we know the magnet's working. I've got spinner up, and let's give it a shot. Okay, and we tested our photocell before. It's showing us 81 feet per second, and remember we're still on AA, so that's significantly higher than what we saw during the initial testing. So when we get this guy set for a full run, we will get a full set of data, but you can already tell we're looking pretty good.